Turn over a jar of supermarket pasta sauce, look past that bold word traditional, and check the fine print on the back. Water, tomato paste, soybean oil, and added sugar. As we cross the age of 60, our digestion, blood pressure, and joints require a bit more intentional care, and our bodies handle heavily processed ingredients completely differently than they used to. Today, we are exposing the 5 most popular pasta sauce brands hiding corporate shortcuts that work directly against senior health, and the 5 clean options that are actually worth your money. If you want to protect your health and your budget with straightforward, honest food facts every single week, hit that subscribe button right now so you never get tricked at the shelf again. Let's look at the first major brand you should think twice about on your next grocery trip. Let's start with one of the most widely consumed sauces in America, Prego Traditional. Now, I know some of you are already getting ready to head down to the comment section to tell me that you've been buying Prego for 40 years. Your kids love it, and your family is doing just fine. And I completely understand that nostalgia. It's an iconic jar, it's affordable, and it's a staple of the fast weeknight dinner. But we have to look at the reality of what is happening inside this glass. When you audit the back label, the very first ingredient listed isn't whole, fresh tomatoes. It is tomato puree, which the manufacturer explicitly defines in parentheses as water and tomato paste. This is where the corporate shortcut begins. When a food manufacturer relies on a base of water mixed with dehydrated tomato paste rather than slow-cooking whole peeled tomatoes, the resulting sauce is thin, metallic, and completely lacks natural flavor. To mask this watery base and recreate the deep, rich sweetness of a true Italian sauce, the manufacturer has to rely on a heavy dose of processed sugar. A single half-cup serving of Prego Traditional contains 9 grams of sugar, 4 grams of which are explicitly added refined sugars. Let's look at how most of us actually serve a real pasta dinner. Almost nobody eats a strict half cup of sauce. A realistic portion on a standard plate of spaghetti is a full cup, which means you are easily consuming 18 grams of sugar before you even touch a side of garlic bread. As our metabolisms mature past 60, our bodies naturally become more sensitive to insulin resistance, and our ability to process sudden, fast-acting loads of refined sugar drops significantly. This isn't just an issue about calories or weight management. It is about avoiding that sudden blood sugar spike and the inevitable physical fatigue and brain fog that hits you an hour after you finish eating. If you are actively managing your health, keeping an eye on your pre-diabetes risk, or tracking your everyday energy levels, this isn't just a simple pasta sauce. It is a sugary shortcut masquerading as a wholesome family dinner. Go ahead and look at your own pantry and tell me if this is the jar you've been relying on. This brings us directly to our second massive brand, and this is where things start to change from a health perspective. Let's talk about Ragu Old World Style. Again, I can already hear the pushback. Ragu is practically an American institution. It is highly affordable. It holds its place on every single grocery shelf in the country, and it has a flavor profile that many of us have been conditioned to love since childhood. You might be thinking, it's just tomatoes. What could possibly be wrong with it? But if you read past the water and the tomato paste on the back of a Ragu jar, you will find a highly telling ingredient listed very prominently: soybean oil. Authentic, traditional Italian cooking carries flavor and protects heart health by utilizing pure, monounsaturated olive oil. Soybean oil, on the other hand, is a highly refined industrial seed oil that is exceptionally cheap to mass produce. It is packed with omega-6 polyunsaturated fatty acids. While our bodies do require a very microscopic natural amount of omega-6, the modern processed food supply completely floods our systems with it, throwing off our internal balance. When you consume highly processed, industrially refined seed oils after 60, they can act as a fuel source for chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your body. If you are someone who deals with everyday joint stiffness, osteoarthritis, back discomfort, or creeping cardiovascular concerns, minimizing these inflammatory triggers is absolutely vital to maintaining your daily mobility and independence. Furthermore, soybean oil is highly unstable under high heat. During the intense mass manufacturing process, these oils can easily become oxidized before the jar is even sealed, creating subtle oxidative stress inside your blood vessels when you digest them. When you spend your money at the supermarket, you should be buying real food that supports your vascular elasticity, not a cheap industrial byproduct that works directly against your joints and your heart. If you disagree and think Ragu is still the best option out there, tell me down in the comments why you think the ingredient list doesn't matter to you. Before we move on to the final 3 brands to avoid and look at the clean label options that actually get it right, let's do a real-time check together. I want you to literally pause this video, walk over to your kitchen, open up your cabinet, and pull out whatever jar of pasta sauce you currently have sitting on your shelf. Turn it around, look at the ingredients list, and leave a comment below with the brand name and whether you see soybean oil, canola oil, or added sugars listed in the fine print. Don't feel bad or defensive if you find exactly what we're talking about. The food industry spends millions of dollars on beautiful labels of fresh gardens and Italian flags, specifically to keep us from checking the back. Let's look out for each other. Leave your comment right now, and let's see what brands are currently dominating our community's pantries. Now let's address the third category, and this is where most value-conscious shoppers get tripped up. Generic store brands like Walmart's Great Value Marinara or Target's Market Pantry. When you are living on a fixed retirement income or managing a tight monthly budget, grocery store inflation can feel completely overwhelming. It makes absolute sense why you would reach for the $2 store brand over an expensive alternative. And I want to be entirely clear with you. This does not mean you are a bad shopper, and it doesn't mean you can never buy a budget item again. We all have to manage our expenses realistically. But you need to understand the hidden catch that these major discount retailers never put on the front of the packaging. To sell a jar of sauce for such a rock-bottom price, they use the lowest grade, highly diluted tomato bases available. Because a mixture of water and low-grade paste tastes completely flat, metallic, and unappealing on its own, the primary tool the manufacturer uses to create flavor and extend shelf life is an enormous amount of sodium. These budget jars routinely pack anywhere from 480 to well over 520 milligrams of sodium per tiny half-cup serving. If you pour a normal, realistic portion over your pasta, you are easily clearing 1,000 milligrams of sodium in a single sitting. And that is before you add any salt to your pasta water, before you brown any ground beef, and before you shake on any Parmesan cheese. As our cardiovascular systems mature, our blood vessels naturally lose some of their compliance and flexibility. High concentrated doses of refined sodium trigger acute fluid retention, expanding your blood volume and forcing your heart muscle to pump significantly harder against stiffened arterial walls. If you are currently taking a mild blood pressure medication or working hard to manage your cardiovascular health, using a high-sodium budget sauce can completely counteract your daily healthcare efforts. Saving $1 or $2 at the cash register is entirely understandable, but there is a much better way to do it. Later in this video, I am going to show you a simple kitchen strategy to stretch a single high-quality jar to make it last for multiple meals, so you never have to compromise your heart health just to save a few pennies. Let's move to our fourth brand to watch out for, which is Bertolli Traditional. Bertolli positions itself as a slightly more premium, sophisticated, and authentic choice on the supermarket shelf. It often comes in a beautifully shaped glass jar, costs a little bit more than the bottom-tier brands, and uses elegant marketing to make you feel like you're buying a product straight from a Tuscan kitchen. But when you look past the elegant glass and dive straight into the fine print of the ingredient list, you find a heavy reliance on dehydrated garlic, dehydrated onion, and that highly suspicious catch-all regulatory phrase, natural flavors. Why should the use of dehydrated powders and natural flavors cause you to think twice? A real traditional Italian sauce gets its aromatic flavor profile from fresh garlic and fresh onions gently simmered in olive oil. This slow, natural process activates and releases lycopene, which is a powerful fat-soluble antioxidant found in tomatoes that directly supports eye health, cellular integrity, and prostate health as we age. When a multi-million-dollar corporation relies heavily on dehydrated factory powders and manufactured natural flavors instead of fresh aromatics, it is a definitive technical sign of high-heat, heavy thermal processing. The term natural flavors is a massive regulatory loophole in the United States. It allows companies to use proprietary, lab-created chemical extractions derived from natural sources to artificially mimic the taste of fresh ingredients that were completely destroyed during mass factory production. This saves the corporation massive amounts of money on shipping and storing fresh produce, but it robs your body of the live, whole food nutrients it needs to thrive. Your digestive tract has to work much harder to process these heavily manipulated, lab-enhanced chemical profiles rather than absorbing real, simple food. Our fifth and final brand to be exceptionally careful with is Classico, specifically their cream-based variations, cheese blends, or heavily stabilized options like their 4-cheese or carbonara styles. Now, to be entirely fair, Classico's basic standard marinara has a slightly cleaner ingredient list than some of its direct competitors. But when you look at their wider lineup, and especially their thicker, richer options, you will find a heavy reliance on texturizers and chemical stabilizers like modified food starch, xanthan gum, and calcium chloride. These ingredients have absolutely no nutritional value whatsoever. They are used by mass manufacturers for one reason: to act as industrial emulsifiers. They prevent a water-heavy sauce from separating into clear liquid and sludge while sitting for months at a time on hot warehouse pallets and grocery store shelves. As our gastrointestinal tracts age, our gut microbiome naturally goes through a shifting process. We often see a natural decline in overall beneficial microbial diversity and a thinning of the protective mucosal lining of the stomach. Synthetic gums like xanthan gum and chemically altered food starches can act as mild, continuous irritants within a sensitive digestive tract. For many older adults, a heavy pasta dinner that results in painful bloating, unexpected gas, or direct nighttime acid reflux isn't actually a reaction to the tomatoes or the pasta itself. It is a direct reaction to these synthetic industrial thickeners that your stomach was never designed to digest. You deserve a clean, simple sauce that passes through your system smoothly and naturally, without requiring chemical binders to keep it held together. Now that we know exactly how to spot these corporate shortcuts, let's focus on the good news. There are excellent, highly authentic choices available on the exact same supermarket shelves that treat your health and your body with the genuine respect you deserve. This is where the entire grocery system starts to work in your favor. Let's look at 5 clean brands that use real, honest ingredients. First is Ragu's homemade marinara. This is an exceptional baseline for commercial clean label sauces. If you turn a jar of Ragu's around, the very first ingredient is whole peeled Italian tomatoes, followed closely by pure olive oil, fresh onions, fresh garlic, and fresh basil. There is absolutely zero added sugar, zero water dilution, zero tomato paste fillers, and a very modest natural sodium count. It tastes exactly like a sauce you spent 5 hours simmering on your own stove. Second is Yo Mama's Premium Marinara. This is an incredible option, specifically designed for cardiovascular wellness. It features an exceptionally low sodium count, just 130 milligrams per serving. It is completely free of added sugars, contains no preservatives, and is slow-cooked in small batches using fresh ingredients and real olive oil. Third is Organico Bello Tomato Basil. This is a certified organic option that uses absolutely no added water, no cheap paste, and zero synthetic preservatives. It relies entirely on the natural, unadulterated sweetness of imported Italian organic tomatoes, making it incredibly light and gentle on sensitive digestive tracts. Fourth is Carbone Marinara. Produced by the famous restaurant group, this premium sauce uses only ultra-high quality Italian volcanic tomatoes and authentic extra virgin olive oil. It contains absolutely no cheap canola or soybean oils, providing your body with high-quality, monounsaturated fats that naturally support joint flexibility and heart health. And fifth is Cucina Antica. This brand utilizes a traditional artisanal slow reduction process using whole tomatoes and real olive oil, completely avoiding synthetic gums, starches, or thickeners. This ensures you avoid digestive irritation, gas, and bloating completely. Now, I know exactly what you might be thinking right now. You're looking at brands like Ragu or Carbone and thinking those can cost $7 or $8 a jar when they aren't on sale. How on earth is that practical or realistic for someone living on a fixed budget? Here is how you apply this information in the real world without blowing your grocery budget. While this strategy doesn't eliminate the cost problem completely, it works incredibly well over time. Because these high-quality sauces don't use cheap water fillers, they are much richer, thicker, and far more concentrated than the cheap, watered-down brands. You can easily stretch a clean, premium jar of sauce by purchasing a plain, low-sodium can of standard crushed tomatoes, which usually costs less than $1.50. By mixing the can of crushed tomatoes directly into your premium sauce, you inherit the pure olive oil, the fresh garlic, and the clean flavor base of the high-quality jar. But you instantly double the volume of your sauce and cut your per-meal cost completely in half. This is a real, doable strategy that smart shoppers use every week. You stay completely strategic with your dollars, you keep your sodium levels down, and you keep your health completely protected. Making simple, informed pivots at the grocery store doesn't mean you have to give up the comforting, classic meals you love. It simply means learning how to read past the front packaging so you can make empowered choices for your health and your household budget. Choosing a clean, real tomato pasta sauce is an excellent victory for your kitchen. However, the real grocery store minefield isn't actually in the pasta aisle. It is waiting for you just a few steps over in the bakery section. Many commercial white and wheat breads are quietly loaded with high fructose corn syrup, industrial chemical dough conditioners, and massive amounts of hidden sodium that are quietly compromising senior joint comfort, digestive health, and blood sugar stability. If you want to see exactly which bread brands you should avoid on your next trip and which ones are truly safe and wholesome for your body, click right here on this next video. We will walk through the bakery aisle line by line, keeping things simple, honest, and completely transparent. I'll see you right there.